Hello. How's it going, everyone? A very strange noise happening outside the window, and it's pretty awful. Long time to watch. Hey, Christy, how are you? Yes, she is asleep. I hope you're caught up. Today's going to be a great reading day. Does everyone have off work today for Indigenous Peoples Day? Does have off. I will be packing. Hey, Lorenzo. Lorenzo, did you get the special stuff that I sent you? I sent you a special package. I knew you ordered one of those flat rate mailer packages, but I sent you a special one. I thought you were special. Hope you love it. Good morning. How's everyone doing? I'll be packing up more orders today to go to the post office tomorrow because there's no post today. She's asleep, so just die from me, not die from her. Thank goodness, right? It's surgery day. What kind of surgery? And why? And are you okay? Is everything all right? Surgery day? Is it a routine thing? Is it something that we shouldn't be worried about? Everything's fine? Tell me everything's fine and it's just routine, because I would love to hear that. Hey, Naisa. Hey, Mary. I know I owe you a package. The post office opens tomorrow. I'm okay. I'll DM you later. Okay, fair enough. That's totally fair. What was I going to tell you guys? I had something to tell you. I'm so excited. I helped a friend via phone or something. Oh, that's exciting. I can't wait to get it up on Kindle so it doesn't live on the website anymore. And so that people can have it just like with them on their phone or on their Kindle. That'd be really great. So many Swiftie things. I know. Can you guys believe we're getting a documentary? I'm very excited. I love a good documentary. They were so excited. Oh, I love that, Brittany. I love that. I love when people get excited about like having the tools to do something for themselves, you know? That's basically what it is, right? It's the tools to do something. 13/13 Easter egg already. Oh, we got 12/12, which I love because I love December. December is my favorite. It's my favorite. We love it. I found more. Will you DM me, Nikki, and I can Venmo you for that? Love that series and would love to have more for Baby Book Club and for her in general. So I will happily Venmo you for those. This is almost empty. We need to go to the store today. Yikes. So here is the situation. The album is absolutely blissful. So we have teeth now. We have 2 teeth here. but she also didn't have even half as much milk right before the live as she usually does. UCLA was really cool. So I'm afraid that she's not going to sleep very long because she didn't drink as much. I don't know. So the UCLA thing was interesting. They had us go into two separate rooms. It was two different experiments, basically. They called them like activities for her. And she'd sit on one of our laps. She did it with my husband for the first one, and they played different sounds to gauge her reaction to them. And then in the second one, they played sounds associated with lights to gauge her reaction and where she would look and see if she would anticipate what was coming next, which is interesting, right? So when I say sounds, I mean like vowels and consonants and things that sound like words. So really, it was interesting. And she was invited to come back and do it again when she's a little older in the next round, you know, like when she can talk and stuff. So it's interesting. It was very interesting. Hey, Jillian. We thought it was cool. The students were really lovely, you know, happy to help them out. Yeah, it was cool, actually. It was really cool. It was interesting because she definitely, so like in the first one, they were playing like sounds, right? Like I said, like vowel and consonant sounds. So it would be like ma, pa, ba, da, blah, blah, like whatever like that to get them to do stuff. And then they would say like, let's see how long she can stay interested. They were like, some kids, like their attention span is nothing. So she has a pretty good attention span. And she stayed interested in it for a while, right? But then, you know, she's a baby, so her attention did start to drift, which is totally normal. They weren't like, morning, Brittany. They weren't bothered by that or anything. But the interesting thing was when her attention started to drift, the woman would hit a button. So for this one, I was outside with the student, and my husband was inside with her because only one of us could go in at a time because they don't want you to distract her. So they would hit a button and it would make the sound of a baby laughing, and it would regain her attention. So like it would be like ah, e, ah, oh, and she's like, you know, kind of enjoying it. And then her attention would drift and she'd start to kind of look off like that. And they would hit the button and the baby would go, ha ha ha, like a little like baby laugh. And she would snap right back to attention and pay attention to the sounds again. Interesting, right? And then in the second one, I was in with her for the second one. In the second one, there were 3 lights, but they weren't all on. So like a light here, a light here, and a light here. Hey, Tiffany. And the light would turn on in association with certain sounds, and they were trying to see if she would anticipate which one was going to come next. So yeah, it was interesting. They didn't give us any results or anything. But I did find it, you know, interesting. They also asked us a lot of questions that didn't really have anything to do with the experiments, which I thought was also interesting, but whatever. I mean, they know what they're doing, you know. She got a little rubber ducky and a certificate that said graduate of the UCLA language lab, and we joked that if she applies to UCLA when she wants to go to college, if she chooses to go to college, that she can, in her application, yeah, that's what they said, Tiffany. They said she's invited back as she hits other milestones, other language milestones, so like when she starts to talk, and then beyond that. But wouldn't it be so funny, we said it would be funny if she chooses to apply to UCLA, if in her application essay she's like, I have been a part of UCLA since I was 8 months old, blah, 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 blah. So they can include the demographic with the results. Yeah, exactly. Well, it wasn't demographic information, Jen. I'm talking about like, they said like, oh yeah, you're totally fine, Brittany. She was invited to go to UCLA to the language lab for like a study or whatever. But it wasn't demographic information, Jen. It was like, do you say mom or mommy in your house? You know what I mean? Like those are all English speaking words. So it wasn't like, do you speak English or not speak English? But it was like mom versus mommy versus mama. Like how do you refer to yourself, to her? And then like, does she know these words, you know, whatever like that. So I understood why they asked for the demographic information. That part didn't confuse me, but the asking the mommy mama thing, but then we didn't do anything related to those words. So I was like, that's interesting. I wonder why they asked that. Is to figure out baselines and controls for today. Oh, that's fair. That's totally fair. Yeah. Anyway, it was cool. And we'll go back. The students were lovely, you know, happy to help them out again in the future. I mean, they said, you know, she might come back around like December, January, like when she's starting to have, you know, more words for him. She can say mama and dada right now, but that's all she can say right now. And she doesn't do it on command, obviously. She only does it when she wants something. Oh, you're totally fine, Amanda. I assume, yeah, maybe. But right now she only has just those 2 words. She can kind of say clap, like when we're saying clap, clap, you know, she kind of says clap, but it's not very clear. But it's clear that she's trying to say that because it's always when we're clapping. It's funny, Amanda. But I mean, she will develop more words over the next couple of months. So then they said she can come back and participate. So basically what they said is they need 30 babies per activity, I guess, to have their like group, you know. And so anyone who's participated who does who, you know, doesn't freak out. Obviously if a baby freaks out, then, you know, let's not, you know, torment them. But she was fine. She was having a grand old time. She was smiling at the other, you know, at the students and everything. She loves people, you know. So anyone like her who's good in those environments, they just invite them back whenever there's like a new milestone one that fits them. They invited us once before, but we weren't available. My first word was blue. That's adorable. I love that, Brittany. Yeah, she was like, ooh, learning. Her first word was mama, and a few hours later she said dada, but they were very clearly directives. Like it wasn't just like babble. Like she babbles all the time. Like, you know, we always joke that she's saying hi to us, so who knows if she was actually saying hi or whatever. But when I walked away and she said mama, she was clearly trying to get me back. And she did this. And then when my husband went to work the next morning, he went into his office and she tilted her head. Hey, Susan. She looked, like tried to look for him and said dada, and she was like looking around a corner to see him. So those were very clear words. Yeah, exactly, Brittany. Like there were some baby talk ones before, but these were her first clear things, just like you're saying. Not like baby talk. Like she was like looking for something very obvious with her actions. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Who knows? Who knows? Let's keep going. For anyone keeping track for their Goodreads, we are on page 280 and we are on chapter 17. Are you still going to make slime? Yes, but not for sale. Uh-oh. Okay, she's still asleep. It's fine. Okay, so chapter 17 is called The Only Witness. Yes, the kiss test. She passed. I thought my mom was crazy about Menar's garden, and then I figured out it was our contrast book. Oh, garden was her first word. I love that. That's such a great word, garden. My niece's first word was gadget, which is her dog. She didn't say it very clearly, but she said like gadget, you know, like kind of like that. We had the opportunity to help her nephew make them. Oh, I love that. First complex word, yeah. Gadget was Zoe's, and it was very clear that she was trying to get her dog's attention because she loves that dog, and that dog is Zoe's dog. Like, Zoe has a brother now. Gadget is still Zoe's dog, you know? Your son says mama. I love that. It's so amazing. Isn't it beautiful? What a beautiful moment. But yeah, Gadget loves Zoe. Gadget is a Zoe fan. He's like, this is my kid, and I will protect her at all costs. When we were walking around, if we let Zoe like run around a giant piece of grass or whatever, that like obviously she was fine. Like we could get to her before she'd get to the other side of it. He was on a leash. He would like freak out if she got too far from us, and we were like,
It's okay. Like, she can play. She's allowed to play here. Like, we have to let the little girl play, Gadget. And he was like, you know, and he's such a sweet dog. Such a sweet dog. Okay, let's read chapter 17, The Only Witness. Whatever that means. Alex and Connor sat by their grandma's bedside all night. Neither of them could think about sleep at a time like this. They were afraid if they left their grandmother, it would discourage her from waking up. They hoped that if she felt their presence for long enough, it might activate the last bit of magic inside of her. An emergency fairy council meeting was called early the next morning to discuss the matters at stake. Since the fairy godmother was absent, Alex asked Connor to accompany her. The twins always thought best when they were together, and they hoped that the fairy council would assess the current situation. Alex took a seat in her chair and Connor leaned against its arm. Although their grandmother's seat was empty, Connor would not sit in it. He felt like it wasn't available. The meeting already started, and they could tell the conversation was heated when they walked in. All the fairies were standing their respective podiums, staring daggers at Mother Goose. Uh-oh. Let me get this straight, Emeralda said. An army from the other world has been trapped in a portal for 200 years, and now they've arrived and they plan on taking over our world? Yep, that's about it in a gold... What? What voice is that? Yeah, that's about it in a golden eggshell, Mother Goose said, and she shifted in her seat and the others glared at her. And why didn't you bring this to anyone's attention before? Tangerina said, absolutely infuriated. Her bees flew aggressively around her beehive. They would have attacked Mother Goose if she had given them the word. Well, I didn't want to worry the fairy godmother for one, Mother Goose said. I thought I could take care of the situation myself, and I was too embarrassed to involve anyone else. The brothers Grimm and I, we trapped them inside the portal, and then luckily by the time the 200 years were up, the portal had been permanently closed by the fairy godmother, and I thought I was in the clear for good until she became ill. So you didn't tell anyone about this because you didn't want to have anyone worry or think less of you? Skylene asked. That seems like jumping into a lake to avoid the rain, if you ask me. Mother Goose looked at the twins, and especially at Connor, and then told the council something she had never told anyone before. A very long time ago, before any of you were even on this council, before the fairy godmother and I lost the color in our hair, we gained the wrinkles in our face, and we were both much thinner. Before Esmea and Alex, I was the fairy godmother's first apprentice, she confessed. All the fairies looked at one another. They were floored. Of all the things they involuntarily knew about her, Alex and Connor were impressed that she managed to keep this a secret. It only took me a few months to realize I wasn't cut out for that job, Mother Goose explained. Sure, I was capable. I just wasn't willing. I was too much of a free spirit to take on that kind of responsibility. So I passed on the highest honor that any fairy could have, and I became the laughing stock of the entire kingdom. The fairy godmother said she understood, but I knew that she was disappointed, and it killed me, and I promised myself I'd never let her down again. So in the 1800s, when I was careless enough to get caught by those greedy French fries, I tried to handle the situation the best way that I could so I'd never have to see those disappointed eyes again. None of the fairies knew what to say, so they just shook their heads. Connor felt sorry for Mother Goose. After growing up with his sister as precocious as Alex, he knew very well what it was like to constantly disappoint people. Now he understood why Mother Goose hadn't been honest with him about the portal. Oh, come on, Connor said to the fairies. Give Mother Goose a break. You're all standing here shaking your heads as if you could have handled the situation any better. Well, no offense, but at least she came up with a solution. I can't remember the last time I saw any of you solve anything. Every time there's a crisis, it's usually Alex and me who figure out what to do. How are we not supposed to take offense to that? Xanthos asked the others. My point is, glass people shouldn't throw stones, Connor said. The phrase is, people in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, Alex corrected him. Oh, yeah, well, whatever. You get my point. Mother Goose smiled at Connor and she mouthed, Thank you, Sea Dog. Emeralda massaged her forehead and she thought about what to do next. There's no use in blaming anyone for what has happened. We just need to move forward and find a way to fix it, Esmeralda said. Alex, what do you think we should do? She couldn't believe that Esmeralda was asking her. Alex just said, me? Yes, of course, you, Esmeralda said. Unless your grandmother miraculously recovers, you will be acting fairy godmother. This was a very heavy thing for both of the twins to digest. When people referred to Alex as the next fairy godmother, she always assumed it meant someday in the distant future, not now. Yes, I'm also with Connor. Glass people also shouldn't throw stones, Nisa. I completely agree. Oh, thank you, Brianna. That's very sweet. Alex bit her thumb and she looked at the floor while she thought it over. Well, we need to see the army first so we know what we're up against, she said. Oh, yeah. You should definitely read with us. We love having kiddos here. This is a very kid-friendly story, so pull on up, kiddos. The more we know about them, the easier it will be to find a solution. Well, the last thing I heard about was an attack on Pinocchio Prison, Connor said. Why would they be attacking Pinocchio Prison? Rosette asked. The general said that they were, recruiting, Connor said. And suddenly the room grew very tense. All the fairies eyed one another, frantically whispering amongst themselves. I told you that General Marquis is a really smart man, Mother Goose said. Wait, am I missing something? Connor asked. What use can he get from recruiting a bunch of criminals? There are some pretty powerful characters in that prison, Mother Goose said. Trust me, I know most of them, and the prisoners in Pinocchio Prison are only the ones that have been caught. The dwarf forest and the backwoods of every kingdom are crawling with criminals, and when they see their friends have joined an army fighting against us, they all might want to join too. If the general succeeds in recruiting them, we won't just be fighting an old army. We could be fighting a whole war. Connor gulped. He was sorry he even asked. Coral was having difficulty processing this information too, so she politely raised a hand to ask a question. So, you're saying it's possible the happily ever after assembly might be up against everyone else? Mother Goose said. All the creatures in the other kingdoms have been waiting for an opportunity to overthrow the fairies and the humans. This really could be their chance. Coral looked like she was about to cry. She cradled Fisher even tighter in her arms at the thought of what tomorrow might bring. The witchers, the ogres, the trolls, the goblins, the elves, they've all wanted us gone since the Dragon Age, Violetta said. And those are just the ones lacking the organizational skills to challenge us. Those skills are something that the general can provide, Mother Goose said. And while Connor and the fairies started to panic, Alex was adamant about her original plan. The more information they had, the more options they would have. She raised a wand and a bright bolt of light shot out of it, silencing the room of frightened fairies. You're worrying about a lot of ifs, Alex said. We don't know if the prisoners have joined the general yet. Those criminals are in the prison because they couldn't follow the rules of society. What makes you think that they'll be able to follow the general's commands? She made a very good point, and it was no use in worrying unless they had evidence to worry about. My brother and I are going to go to the prison, and we're going to see if they've been successful in recruiting the prisoners, Alex said. We'll need to get away to get there without being seen. A flying ship or a unicorn isn't really going to go unnoticed by men from our world. Oh, you can take Lester, Mother Goose said. That's why I rode him around the other world. If anyone sees him flying in the sky, they just assume he's a normal bird. Great, Alex said. We'll leave as soon as possible, and we'll get a better idea of what we're up against. None of the fairies argued with her. For the first time, Alex's word was final, and it was respected. With no time to lose, Alex and Connor immediately followed Mother Goose up to the grand ballroom balcony. She whistled for Lester, and he swooped down to the towers above. She pulled on his reins and whispered the plan into his ear. Froggy and Red were also on the balcony, showing the view of the gardens to Bree and Emmerich. Bree walked over to Connor as soon as she saw him. Hey, Bree, Connor said. How'd you sleep? Oh, you know, she said, as well as anyone could their first night in a new dimension, I guess. Connor smiled. He remembered the restless feeling all too well. As tired as she was, Bree still had that excited light in her eyes as she looked around the palace. I'm so sorry you guys are stuck here. We're gonna get you home as soon as possible, Connor said. It's my own fault for wanting an adventure, Bree said. I made you take me, remember? This made Connor feel a little bit better, and he looked over at Emmerich as Froggy pointed out the different parts of the gardens below. He looked like he was having the time of his life, and Connor reminded himself during his and Alex's first trip. He reminded himself of Connor during his and Alex's first trip into the land of stories. He would have given anything to face those problems again. I've talked to Lester about it, Mother Goose said. He knows to fly high enough so no one will see you two riding on him. Squaw! Lester nodded. All right, then let's get going, Alex said. They climbed aboard the giant goose and took off into the sky, heading in the direction of the prison. They flew over the gardens of the fairy kingdom, over the sparkling waters of Mermaid Bay, and they saw Pinocchio prison at the center of a peninsula in the southeastern kingdom ahead of them. There it is, Alex said. She pointed them out. Lester, circle the prison until we can see something. Lester nodded and looped the sky above the prison. There was destruction everywhere. Alex and Connor could see the entrance had been blown to bits from all the way in the sky. However, there was no trace of prisoners or soldiers anywhere. I think it's safe to get a little closer, Connor said, and Lester gradually descended, circling the prison as cautiously as possible. The closer they got, the more certain they were that no one was around. They looked for somewhere to land, but the prison was covered in enormous spikes to prevent anyone from doing just that. Alex waved her wand to the prison's roof, and the spikes turned into into blades of grass for Lester to munch on. Okay, let's see if there's anything left inside, Alex said, and she pointed her wand at the roof again, and a small hatch appeared. They opened the hatch and they dropped inside, landing on the prison's highest floor. The air inside was very smoky. All the cells on the top floor were wide open and empty. They looked down into the center of the prison and they saw all 29 floors below them were exactly the same. I don't think anyone's here, Connor said. It's like they had a fire drill and they never came back. The twins jumped when they suddenly heard a voice that wasn't either of their own. Sitting in a cell on the top floor by herself was a woman. Psst, she said. Over here. Alex and Connor approached the woman with caution. Whoever she was still a prisoner and she couldn't be trusted. The woman was only a few years older than Red, but she wasn't aging nearly as gracefully. Her hair was thin and messy, and she had bags under her enormous eyes. She wore a plain black dress and no shoes. 29 floors in a prison is insane. I agree, Naisa. Down here, the woman called up to them from where she was sitting on the floor. Her voice sounded alarmed, but she seemed perfectly comfortable. You got to warn someone, she said. An army raided the prison earlier today and took the prisoners with them. They're trying to take over the world. Alex and Connor leaned down to speak with her, and she stuck her head through the bars as far as they would go. We know about the army, and we're trying to stop them, Alex said. We came here to find more information. Were the prisoners taken captive, or did they join them? Connor asked. Oh, they joined them, the woman said. The soldiers opened every cell and gave each prisoner the option of staying or joining the army. As you can see, it was almost a unanimous decision. Why didn't you leave with them? Alex asked, and the woman looked at them like they were insane. I'm not going out there, she said, and she shook her head. There's nothing for me out there. I mean, perhaps at one point there was, but not anymore. No, I belong in this cell right here. You've been here for a really long time, haven't you? Connor asked. And Alex thought there was something curious about her, and then she saw a plaque on the wall next to the woman's cell and stood to read it. The Lady Gretel, sentenced to life in Pinocchio prison for the murder of Sir Hansel. Alex gestured for Connor to look at the plaque, too. Connor, this is Gretel from Hansel and Gretel, she whispered to him. She killed her brother. What? He whispered back. It's all right. You don't have to whisper, Gretel said. I know what the plaque says. I know who I am, and I know what I did. Alex suddenly had so many questions. Why did you kill your brother? Gretel dreamily stared off into the distance. Because it was the only way that I could be free. Free from what? Alex asked. From Hansel and Gretel, Gretel said. The story? Connor asked. No, the label, Gretel said, and their inquiring looks begged her to explain more. After my brother and I survived the gingerbread house, all I wanted was to have a normal life, but that's not what Hansel wanted. He wanted us to be heroes. He told everyone we knew about what happened to us everyone we knew what happened to us in the woods, and those people told everyone they knew, and soon word spread, and we became household names all around the kingdom. We were treated like royalty. Parades were thrown for us. We were honored with medals everywhere we went. We even had a holiday named after us. That sounds pretty nice, Connor said. Gretel's eyes shot up at him. No, it was terrible, she said, because no one cared about me. They just cared about Hansel and Gretel. They wanted Gretel to be just Gretel. Or no, sorry, I wanted to be Gretel, just Gretel. But no matter what I did, no one would let me be just Gretel. It was like my brother had become an invisible ball and chain that I was forced to carry around for the rest of my life. But he was your brother, Alex said. Didn't you love him? Gretel grunted and stuck out her tongue like she had tasted something foul. Ew, no, I couldn't stand him, she said. Hansel may have seemed like a nice young man, but all he cared about was himself and the attention he got. He used to drag me around with him so that he could get more admiration. Hansel also took all the credit for what happened in the gingerbread house, even though I was the one who tricked the witch and pushed her into the fireplace. He wouldn't even be alive without me. Had I known then what I know now, I would have let that witch eat him. So you killed him instead? Gretel nodded. Yeah, it was an accident. One day we were walking through the trees and he started mentioning all the places that he had planned for us to go, all the people we would meet, and all the awards we were going to receive in the upcoming days. I got so mad I pushed him. I didn't see that there was a cliff behind him. Did you tell anyone that it was an accident? Alex asked. I was planning to, Gretel said, but then I realized this cell allowed me to be something the rest of the world didn't. Here I can be just Gretel. So I pleaded guilty, and I've been here ever since. And so today, when the soldiers asked me if I wanted to join the army or stay in the cell, I didn't even have to think twice. Gretel sighed and thought of all the peace her cell brought her. Connor looked at Alex and circled his temples with his fingers. She's nuts, he whispered and mouthed to her. But Gretel hadn't finished with her story. The worst thing one person can do to another, besides eat them of course, is reduce their identity being only half of something. When someone's treated as half or less than half of one identity, they're not being treated like a human at all. Everyone should have the right to individuality. Connor slowly stood up and walked away from the cell. Okay, well, thank you, Lady Gretel. He said. We should be going now. We need to figure out where this army went. Wait, Gretel said. I can tell you. The army and the soldiers went back to their camp, but the general and his men were headed somewhere else. Where? Alex asked. I don't know. Just somewhere else, Gretel said. The prisoner across from me, they call him the masked man because of the sack he wears over his head. He was talking to the general before they let him out. He convinced the general that they needed a dragon to get rid of the fairies and take over the world. He said it was the only way that the general could win. Alex and Connor exchanged the same confused look. A dragon? Alex asked. But they've been extinct for hundreds of years. Our grandmother and her friends were the ones who fought them off during the Dragon Age. Yeah, well, apparently the masked man knows where to find one, Gretel said, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did. He's a very unusual man. He's been in that cell for almost a decade now. He likes to talk to himself at night. Sometimes, I swear, I hear someone else in there with him, but that would be impossible. Connor walked to the cell of the masked man and peeked inside. Hey, Alex, this guy has a lot of stuff in here. Alex joined him at the cell. The door was still open, and they walked inside together. Just being in there gave them the creeps. The walls were covered in bizarre, carved illustrations of winged creatures, pirate ships, animals with big ears and feet. There was a pile of coal that he had carved the pieces of shapes of hearts and hooks and swords. An oval mirror in a silver frame hung on the wall. What does a masked man need with a mirror anyway? Connor asked. I have no idea, Alex said, but we should get out of here. We need to fly by their camp and see what the army's up to. They left the cell and they went back to the hatch in the ceiling. Alex pointed her wand at the door and the stones rose to form a small staircase for them to climb up through the hatch. Goodbye, Gretel called out to them. I hope you can stop them. Us too, Connor said before climbing up onto the roof. Goodbye, just Gretel, Alex said. Thank you for your help today. By the time the twins climbed to the roof, Lester had eaten all the long blades of grass. They hopped aboard the giant goose and they took off into the sky again. Wait, is the man who Bo Peep... Oh, you know what? I didn't think of that, Nikki, but that's totally possible. I didn't even think of that. Ooh.
The general told us she said the general told half his men to set up camp somewhere near the southeast portal where they spit us out, Connor told his sister. I bet they've regrouped by now. Alex took Lester's reins and steered him into the sky high above the south of the Eastern Kingdom. Alex and Connor searched the ground as they passed it over, not sure what they were looking for. However, as soon as the camp came into view, they knew exactly what it was. Hundreds of trees had been cut down to make way for the expansive camp the soldiers had built. There were dozens and dozens of large beige tents set up, and the timbered trees had been used to build a wall around the camp. There were thousands of soldiers setting up and marching around the camp, and the soldiers weren't alone. 1,000 or so recruits from Pinocchio Prison were scattered around the camp as well. Giant ogres did the heavy lifting as the soldiers built the camp. Witches wove broomsticks out of tree branches, and soldiers trained goblins how to fire cannons and trolls how to shoot rifles. Good morning, Isabella. To Alex and Connor's horror, the target practice was a line of wooden fairy dummies. Mother Goose was right, Connor said. They're totally preparing for war. Dun, dun, dun. I'm going to take a sip of coffee and then we'll read the next chapter. Because someone is still asleep. I love it. She's been asleep for 45 minutes already. It's great. Although she did have a rough night last night, so that could be why. Sweet angel. Okay. So, the next chapter is chapter 18. Look where we are, you guys. We are chugging along. All right, see you later, Amanda. Sorry that you don't have the day off. Chapter 18 is called Sending the Swans. And for those keeping track for their Goodreads, we are on page 294. Mother Goose stood by the railing of the grand balcony and watched the skies as she waited for Lester and the twins to return. Emmerich and Bree were standing a little ways away from her, having the most fascinating conversation with Froggy and Red. So, there are 6 kingdoms, 2 territories, and 1 empire? Emmerich asked, wrapping his head around the lesson Froggy was teaching them on the fairy tale world. Precisely, Froggy said, and the leaders of the 6 kingdoms, including the Fairy Council, make up the happily ever after assembly. Red cleared her throat. There used to be 6 kingdoms, but now there are 5 kingdoms and 1 republic. Bree almost went cross-eyed from all the information. Okay, so Red used to be the queen of her own kingdom, which used to be part of the Northern Kingdom until the Crab Revolution, was it? She asked. No, the CRAWL Revolution, Red corrected her. It stood for Citizens' Riot Against Wolf Liberty. The evil queen was in power in the Northern Kingdom at the time, and she did nothing to stop the wolves from terrorizing... Oh my gosh, why can't I speak all of a sudden? She did nothing to stop the wolves from terrorizing the farmers' villages, so we revolted, and then I got my own kingdom, which you lost in the election for queen, Bree pieced together. But now the kingdom is a republic because the new queen changed the government. Can she do that? Evidently she can, Red said, and pursed her lips at the thought of it. Wow, in our country we have a Congress and a House of Representatives to keep the president from doing things like that, I guess. I'm gonna read that line one more time. In our country, we have a Congress and a House of Representatives to keep the president from doing things like that, I guess. I guess. Yeah, well, I thought I did too, Red said with flared nostrils. I hand-selected representatives, so I couldn't be blamed for my biased decision-making, and the whole kingdom still turned on me, so I really don't know where I went wrong. But who's the queen of your country now? Emmerich asked. That little bimbo, Red replied with a hint of sarcasm. She's the ugliest, most horrendous creature to ever live in the Red Riding Hood Kingdom, and she scared all the villagers into voting for her. Now that sounds like the politics of our world, Bree said. I've never heard of a little bimbo, Emmerich said, and he shivered at the thought of her. Yeah, well then you're a very lucky man, Red said, and a small smile appeared on her face. It was very therapeutic for her to make things up about Little Bo Peep. She only wished she had done that during the election. Oh, look, they're back, Mother Goose said, and she pointed up to the sky. A shadow passed over the balcony, and they looked to the sky and saw Alex and Connor descending on Lester's back. They landed on the balcony, and their friends eagerly approached them. All right, what'd you find out? Mother Goose asked. The army definitely recruited the prisoners, Connor said as he hopped down from the giant goose. The soldiers were training them for combat when we flew above their camp. There are thousands of them. Mother Goose placed a hand over her heart. Oh dear, she said. What should we do next? I'm thinking, Alex said as she climbed down from Lester. In the meantime, Mother Goose, please see that all the fairy council members gather in the hall as quickly as possible. Connor, you go with her and tell the other fairies about what we've seen. The first thing I need to do is get to the kings and queens and get them to the fairy palace as quickly as possible so they can join in this conversation. This isn't a fairy council matter. This is an entire happily ever after assembly matter. We all need to discuss it. Mother Goose and Connor nodded and headed inside the palace. Alex raised her wand in the air and then cracked it like a whip 6 times. A series of shimmering lights flashed around the balcony, and 6 enormous swans the size of Lester magically appeared in front of her. Alex spun the tip of her wand above her palm, and a stack of papers appeared. She rolled the papers and put one in each of the swans' mouths. What are those? Froggy asked. They're invitations, Alex said, and she handed Froggy an extra copy to read. To the members of the royal families, an emergency has occurred, and all members of the Happily Ever After Assembly and their families must report to the Fairy Palace immediately. We will provide details of the matter upon your arrival. Thank you. Alex Bailey, Acting Fairy Godmother. I need you to take these to the kings and queens of the Corner Kingdom, the Charming Kingdom, the Northern Kingdom, the Eastern Kingdom, and the Bo Peep Republic as quickly as possible and bring their rulers back with you, Alex instructed the first of the 5 swans, and then she turned to the 6th. As for you, I have other acquaintances I would like you to deliver this to. She whispered further instructions into the swans' ears so that they couldn't hear. So that the others couldn't hear. Ooh, dun dun dun. If they don't cooperate, you have my permission to persuade them whatever way you need to, she said. Bring them back by the ankles if you must, but these invitations are not optional. Now go. All 6 swans bowed their heads and they launched into the air at once. They flew off in opposite directions at the speed that birds had never flown before. Okay, but now what? Red asked. Do you think the kings and queens will take your messages seriously? We're going to have to wait and see, Alex said, hoping with all of her heart that they would. After a few hours of waiting, Red and Froggy took Bree and Emmerich inside to give Alex some time to think alone. She paced back and forth so many times that she almost left a mark on the floor. When she was studying wars and history during school, Alex never imagined that one day she would be in one, let alone that she would be leading it. Was she equipped to head the Happily Ever After Assembly into a war against a general of an empire? She prayed that her strength of common sense and logic would be enough to make up for the lack of battle strategy. She kept thinking about the great war heroes from her world, like Franklin Roosevelt and Winston Churchill. What would they have done if they were in her shoes? What sort of plan would they have created? And what would her grandmother have done if she wasn't ill? Alex heard a commotion from above, and she looked into the sky. One by one, the swans came into view as they returned to the palace, bringing kings and queens from opposite ends of the land of stories with them. Alex sighed with relief as they all glided to her. She was so glad to see that none of them had rejected her invitation. 5 swans landed on the balcony, one after another. The first swan carried King Chance, Queen Cinderella, and their 2-year-old daughter, Princess Hope, from the Charming Kingdom. And the second swan carried Queen Sleeping Beauty and King Chase from the Eastern Kingdom. The third swan carried Queen Snow White and King Chandler from the Northern Kingdom. And the 4th swan carried Queen Rapunzel and her husband, Sir William, from the Corner Kingdom. And the 5th swan carried Queen Little Bo Peep. All the rulers appeared befuddled by their unexpected journey. Queen Little Bo Peep looked a tad intimidated by being among these legendary rulers on the balcony. It was the first time that she had been called to participate in the Happily Ever After Assembly. Hello, Your Majesties, Alex said. Thank you all so much for coming. Alex, I'm sure we would all like to know what the meaning of this is, Cinderella asked. And what happened to the fairy godmother, and why didn't she send for us herself? Because she's fallen ill, Alex informed them. The royals took the news exactly as the twins had. They didn't even know it was possible for the fairy godmother to fall ill. Hey, are you waking up? Hi, good morning. Good morning. It's only one of many problems we face, I'm afraid. So if you please, quickly follow me into the hall so you can join our discussion. Hey. We'll keep reading in just a second. I know, Rapunzel got married. She wasn't married in the last book. Hey, hey, do you want out? Do you want to come out? Do you want to go in your playpen and play while Mommy reads? Yeah? Do you want to play? Do you want to play while Mommy reads? Whee! Woo! Wee, wee, wee. You want to sit right here? Hi. Good morning, beautiful angel. Hi. Hello. Hi, little jailbird. As long as she gets to be right here, she seems perfectly content. For now. Who knows if she'll want me to get in there with her, but for now she seems fine. Hi. Look, here's your bear. Can you spin the bear? She led the parade of monarchs into the fairy palace and down the stairs and into the hall where Connor, Mother Goose, and the other fairies waited. They were all very surprised to see Connor, especially Cinderella, who had witnessed the fairy godmother close the portal to the other world right in her own kingdom. It didn't take long to understand that something was very seriously wrong. Red, Froggy, Bree, and Emmerich came down the stairs to see what the fuss was all about. Although Bree and Emmerich had never met any of the kings and queens in person, it didn't take them long to realize who they were looking at. Snow White's pale skin and Rapunzel's long flowing hair were dead giveaways. They stopped in their tracks and sat at the top of the stairs, admiring all the beautiful royals. Red's first instinct was to join them, but seeing Little Bo Peep in the group of her former peers was a painful reminder that she did not belong there anymore. She sat next to Bree and Emmerich on the stairs and glared at her nemesis from afar. Froggy rushed down the stairs to say hello to his charming brothers. "Charlie, what has happened to you?" Chandler asked. "Why are you a frog again?" Chance asked, just as curious. "It's a very long story," Froggy told them. "We'll explain everything, I do promise." Alex decided to explain before any more confusion filled the room. "The fairy godmother's very sick and her magic is fading," she told everyone. "Her spell on Prince Charlie has worn off and the portal to the other world has been partially reopened. An army from our world has crossed over and plans to dominate this world, but I'll let Connor tell you about the rest since he's seen them up close." Alex gestured for her brother to take the floor, but Mother Goose suddenly rose from her seat. "No," she said, "I'll do it. It's my fault they're even here after all." Alex and Connor looked at each other. They were impressed that she was willing to take responsibility in front of the entire Happily Ever After assembly. Mother Goose then informed the kings and queens about the Grand Armée and how it was her fault that they were even traveling into the portal in the fairy tale world. She told them how they had raided Pinocchio prison and recruited its criminals, and at last, Mother Goose had the unfortunate task... Hi. Are you okay? You're okay. It's soft. You're okay. You want up? Come here. Give me your hands. 1, 2, 3. You're okay. You want me to come in there with you? Okay, I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming. I'll come in there with you. Okay, Mommy's coming. Mommy's coming. I'm just getting my coffee, honey. Can Mommy get her coffee, please? See, look, Mommy needs coffee. It's very important for Mommy to have coffee. She can't survive without it. Yeah, I'm coming. See, look, I'm here. Look at this. Who's here? It's Mommy. Yay, Mommy. All right, Tower of Terror in 3, 2. Shoo. See that, honey? See what we did there? No coffee for Mommy. Okay. All better. See, Mommy's here. Here you go. What's wrong? Hi, my angel. What's the matter? What's the matter, baby angel? Do you want your milkies since you didn't drink them before? Should we go get your milkies? What do you think? Do you want milk? Look at Mommy. Look at Mommy. Hey, sweetheart, look at Mommy. You want to go get your milkies? Let's go. I'll be right back. 2 seconds. Let's go get your milkies. Let's get the milkies. Let's get the milkies. Want these milkies? Okay. Oh. Okay. Okay, let's see. What time is it? Okay. Here. Oh, it's so yummy. So yummy, huh? Milk. Wow. Do you want to hold it? Do you want to hold your milk? You can. Alex sat in her chair as the monarchs were informed, and she continued thinking of the horrors the future might bring and how they could be better prepared for them.
So this army of 5,000 men now has hundreds of additional soldiers, criminals that we put behind bars?
Snow White asked with a hand over her mouth. That's correct, Mother Goose said, and we have a suspicion that they will inspire all the other criminals on the loose in the Dwarf Forest and the other kingdoms to join the army too. Yeah, this isn't Baby E. She allows coffee. That's right. Yeah, only Evelyn doesn't allow coffee. And how many criminals total are we currently unaccounted for within our kingdoms? Sleeping Beauty asked. We've estimated 3,000 or so, Esmeralda told the room, and Rapunzel quickly did the math in her head. That gives the Grand Army a total of close to 9,000, she said. That's more than all of our armies combined. How many soldiers are in your armies? Connor asked. The Northern Kingdom has an army of 2,000, King Chandler said. The Charming Kingdom has about 1,000, Chance said. Many of the Eastern Kingdom's men perished trying to fight off the Enchantress, Chase said. We only have around 1,500 soldiers left. And the Quarter Kingdom's army is very small as well, consisting of only about 500 men, Sir William said. And Little Bo Peep was the only one who hadn't responded. I don't know the number exactly. I would say it's around somewhere around 828 men, Red called down from the top of the stairs, and Little Bo shot her a nasty look. Yes, thank you, former queen, Red Riding Hood, Little Bo Peep said. The twins were shocked by the low numbers. Yeah, unlike your world, we've never had a real reason for large armies until now, Mother Goose told them. Connor added these numbers up in his head. Okay, so that means with all your armies together, the Happily Ever After Assembly has roughly 5,000 and a half men. That's 5,000 and a half potential against 9,000. The army could grow up to twice the size of our forces. And that's not even including the armies of the Elf Empire and the Troblin territory, Mother Goose reminded them. If General Marquis manages to convince them the way that he convinced the prisoners, then it's all over. We're never going to win this war. Okay, then we'll have to get to them first. Alex joined in the discussion for the first time. We need to do whatever it takes to make sure the elves and the Troblins are on our side. They might not have a great relationship with the Happily Ever After Assembly, but I doubt they want the world to be taken over by the army any more than we do. Does anyone know how large the elf and Troblin armies are? The trolls and goblins have an army of 700, I believe, Tangerina said, and the elves have 1,000 soldiers? All right, well, that's good news then, Alex said. We'll convince the Troblins and the elves to join us, and that raises our armies to much better odds of survival. Plus, we have the fairies on our side. We can't forget to include them. All the fairies behind the podiums objected at once, but Xanthos was the loudest. Fairies could not go into battle. It's against the Happily Ever After Assembly's code of magic, he protested. Screw the code, Connor yelled, and the room went silent. The code's to ensure peace and prosperity for the fairy tale world, and there soon may not be a fairy tale world left. If we want to win this war, we're going to have to fight fire with fire. And Xanthos, no one has more fire than you. No one can stir up waves better than Skylene, and no one can sting like Tangerina. We're gonna have to use every resource possible. The fairies were morally opposed to the idea with every fiber of their beings, but Connor was right. As long as they were using their magic for the greater good, they had no choice. Alex folded her hands together and looked at the floor as she thought more about what needed to be done. All right, I think I have a plan. Everyone, listen closely. You want some more Milkies? She gained the room's undivided attention. We don't know where or how the Grand Armée will strike first. We have to assume it could be anywhere at any time, and I want all the kings and queens to write their commanding officers at once and tell them... What are we going to tell them? to split their armies in half. Half of each army will stay in its respective kingdom so nothing is left unguarded. The other halves will go into hiding. I don't care where they go as long as they stay out of sight. They're not to come out of hiding until they see my signal. But why split up the armies? Xanthos asked. That way, no kingdom is left unguarded in case it's attacked, Alex explained. If a kingdom is attacked, its entire army won't be lost, do you see? Alex turned to face the fairies. I want you to be with the soldiers guarding the kingdoms, she said. Rosette, you go to the corner kingdom, Skylene to the northern, Xanthos to the charming kingdom, Tangerina to the eastern, Violetta and Coral, you go to the Bo Peep Republic. Mother Goose and Emeralda will stay in the fairy kingdom and look after the fairy godmother. Alex turned back to address the entire room for the conclusion of her plan. My brother and I will personally go to the Troblins and the Elves and plead with them to join our side. As soon as we recruit the Elves and the Troblins, I'll signal all the remaining armies and the ones at home, including the ones in hiding, and lead them a strike against the Grand Armée. Everyone carefully went over this plan in their heads. It might not have been the perfect strategy, but it was the only strategy they had. What's going to happen to us? Cinderella asked. Do we go home to our kingdoms or do we stay at the fairy palace? Whoa! What are you doing there, friendo? What are you doing, silly Billy? Want to sit down? Can you sit down and drink your milkies? Let's sit. Let's sit. Let's sit. Here. Yeah. Here. Milkies. What? 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 Neither, Connor said, and he stood by his sister. If the army finds you, they're going to kill you. They have a history of killing royal families and aristocrats, so death to them is the only surrender. We have to keep you moving at all times so they never find you. I suggest we put you all on a flying ship like the Granny, but if the army saw that, they would freak out and they definitely would shoot you down. Then what can... Yeah? You don't like that idea? High five? Can I have a high five? You're trying to stand up? Big girl. Then what can we place them on that's both secretive and continuously moving? Alex asked. Her words rang a bell, and Connor knew he had heard of something recently that fit this description. He just had to think. He thought back to the very beginning of this whole ordeal when he was standing in the cemetery listening to the Brothers Grimm's stories, and the answer came to him. The Brothers Grimm hadn't just provided a warning, they had also provided a plan. Oh, I've got it, Connor said. We'll put them on an enchanted path, just like in the story in the secret castle. The path could weave through the kingdoms like a snake, never traveling in the same direction twice and never leaving a trail behind it. That's brilliant, Alex said. And the only people who will be able to find it are the people who know about it. As long as the armée never knows about the path, they'll never find it. Connor stepped closer to Alex and whispered something in her ear so only she could hear it. Hey, do you think you can create the path, Alex? He didn't want to fill the room with hope if Alex wasn't capable of such an enchantment. Alex took a deep breath. Yes, she said, I know I can do it. And she looked up to the top of the stairs where the others sat. Red, can we use the carriages you arrived in? They're very plain and they didn't bear any symbols of royalty. Red grunted. Don't remind me. Alex eyed the official robes, crowns, and jewels that all the kings and queens wore. And you should also strip down so that you look less official, she said. You can't wear any jewelry or be followed by any guards or do anything that would make you appear royal. But surely we can't go on this path unprotected, Snow White said. We're going to need some sort of protection, Sleeping Beauty said, even if the path is disguised as we are. Alex looked to the sky to think about this, and a big smile grew on her face for the first time all day. Oh, I know just the people, Alex said, and they were flying right above her. Everyone looked to the sky to see what Alex was smiling about. The sixth swan was finally returning to the fairy palace, and it landed in the hall. All the monarchs and fairies were stunned to see Jack and Goldilocks climb off the swan's back. Alex had secretly sent one of the swans to find her fugitive friends. You invited them? Red yelled from the top of the stairs. Yeah, I figured it wouldn't hurt to have a few friends around, Alex said, but now we have the perfect assignment for them. They waved uncomfortably at the royals in the hall. Less than a year ago, these kings and queens had agreed to clear them of all their crimes as a way to thank them for helping defeat the Enchantress. And since then, despite the gesture, Jack and Goldilocks had already committed multiple crimes in each of their kingdoms. Hello, everyone, Jack said. What's the occasion? We got your letter, Alex, Goldilocks said. We figured it had been sent to us by mistake, but the swan was very persuasive. She and Jack held up their arms and showed the bite marks that they had endured trying to avoid this trip. Alex and Connor quickly told them about the Grand Armée and their plans to conquer the fairy tale world. Jack and Goldilocks knew much more than they expected. Word of the Grand Armée was spreading through the kingdoms. Many of the criminals we know have already joined them, Jack said. The armée is growing by the minute. Jack, Goldilocks, I need a big favor, Alex said. We're sending the kings and the queens away so that the armée can never find them. I'm going to ask that you go with them and protect them just as you protected my brother and I during our quest to stop the Enchantress. Jack and Goldilocks looked at each other. This was a big favor. The kings and queens began to mumble their objections to one another. How were a couple of crooks supposed to protect them? Red whistled from the top of the stairs to get the room's attention. I know that you're thinking there isn't a negative thought that I haven't had about these two myself, she said. We wouldn't have, but I can assure you that no one around the world, apparently I don't know how to read. But I can assure you that there is no one around the world that Goldilocks can't take on with her sword and Jack can't face with an axe at his side. We wouldn't have survived our trip around the kingdoms if they hadn't been there. You're well protected under their care. Jack and Goldilocks and the twins did a double take. They couldn't believe that Red was defending them to all these people. Thank you, Red, Goldilocks said. I never would have expected praise from you. Oh, I forgot to tell you, Goldie, Red said excitedly. I have a new nemesis now, so you're off the hook. Don't worry about it. Red gave Goldilocks a thumbs up, and Bo Peep rolled her eyes and crossed her arms. Very well, Cinderella said, and she held Princess Hope a little tighter than before. If you trust them, then I suppose they're the best people for the job. Then it's decided, Emeralda declared. Now we mustn't waste another minute. Let's get the kings and queens to safety. The fairies magically transformed the royals' regal wardrobes into simple common clothing. They were provided with parchment and scrolls and wrote their commanding officers to inform them to split the armies as Alex had instructed. All the fairies, except for Emeralda and Mother Goose, took the letters and disappeared into the air, traveling to the kingdoms that they had each been assigned. As they did this, Connor climbed to the top of the stairs to speak with Bree and Emmerich. I want you guys to go with the kings and queens on the secret path, he said. I'd never be able to forgive myself if anything happened to you, and you'll be safe when you're with Jack and Goldilocks. I promise. Bree and Emmerich both nodded, wide-eyed. The events of the past 24 hours had caused their heads to spin fast, and they couldn't even think straight. They would have agreed to anything at this point. Yes, certainly, Emmerich said. That sounds good, Bree said. And Connor smiled and then faced Red. I want you and Froggy to go as well, so Bree and Emmerich have someone they know with them, he said. Besides, I know Alex and I will feel better knowing that all of our friends are safe. What? Red asked sharply. You want me stuck in a traveling party with that Peep woman? I'm really sorry that you lost your throne, Red, Connor said, but if the army finds you, they're not going to care that you used to be queen. I know you love necklaces, but I don't think wearing a guillotine is going to be a good look for you. Fine, Red agreed. But if we get captured, I'm volunteering Little Bo for target practice. Once all the monarchs had been disguised, everyone left the hall, following Alex outside the front steps of the fairy palace. 3 carriages were lined up. You broke me, Nikki, with those laughs. Were lined up in front of the fairy palace with 2 horses each. King Chance and Queen Chandler and Princess Hope climbed into the first carriage with Queen Sleeping Beauty and King Chase. Queen Snow White and King Chandler joined Queen Rapunzel and Sir William in the second carriage. Froggy, Red, Emmerich, and Bree boarded the third carriage, and to Red's dismay, they were joined by Queen Little Bo Peep. Will someone please put me back inside the wolf's stomach? Red agonized. Oh, that was going to be such a long trip. Little Bo sighed and shook her head. Bree stepped outside the carriage door before it was shut and gave Connor a massive hug. Please stay safe, she told him. The gesture made Connor turn bright pink. Oh, hey, don't worry about me. Hey, Anya, he said. I'm used to being in danger. And Connor shut the carriage door behind her with a tap for good luck. Cinderella poked her head out of the first carriage to get Connor's attention. I'm just wondering if you've heard about my stepmother and stepsisters, she asked. Are they all right in the other world? Oh, yeah, Connor said. The last time I talked to them, Lady Iris and Rosemary had opened a diner, and Petunia's working in an animal hospital. They all seem really happy. Hearing this made Cinderella very happy, too. Connor was glad that he could provide her with a bit of joy before she departed off to the secret path. Jack and Goldilocks mounted horses attached to each of the carriages so that they could watch as they traveled. Emeralda bewitched the carriages to drive themselves, while Alex stood in front of the first carriage, to create her biggest enchantment yet. Okay, Alex whispered to herself. Here I go. and Alex visualized the path as clearly as she could, imagining it snaking through the kingdoms, never giving any indication of where it was headed, leaving no trace of where it had been. She touched the ground with the tip of her wand, and a shimmering golden path appeared on the ground ahead of her. It was less than a quarter of a mile long and disappeared at both ends. Jack and Goldilocks held the reins of the horses, and the parade of carriages took off down the secret path. Alex joined Emeralda, Mother Goose, and her brother on the front steps, and they waved the travelers off until the golden path and the carriages snaked out of sight. Emeralda placed a hand on Alex's shoulder. "Your grandmother would be very proud of you." "I know," Alex said sadly. She just wished that she could have been there to see it. Emeralda, Mother Goose, and Connor went back inside the fairy palace. Alex was just about to turn and go with them when she saw someone she had completely forgotten about for a few hours. "Rook!" Alex said. He was peeking out from behind one of Rosette's magically enlarged roses. "Hey, Alex, are you coming inside?" Connor asked. "Yeah, I'll be there in a minute," she said, and she ran to the garden to see Rook. She pulled him behind a giant patch of tulips and threw her arms around his neck. "Sorry to intrude. I just haven't seen you in a while, and I was worried." "What were all those carriages?" Rook said, but his cheerful expression quickly faded when he saw the seriousness in her eyes. "I need them to stop reminding me that the fairy godmothers—" "I know, it's so sad, Nysa." "Alex, what's wrong?" "Everything is wrong," she said, and she fought back tears. She had held it together very well today, but Rook was the only person she didn't feel like she had to be brave in front of. "My grandmother's sick, and there's an army that's invading and trying to take over the world." "What?" Rook said. "What do you mean there's an Alex grabbed his shirt and pulled him closer and looked directly into his eyes. "You and your dad have to get as far away from here as possible," she said. You better leave before you get hurt." "I hope this isn't your way of letting me down gently," Rook said, trying to make her laugh. "No, look, I'm serious, Rook," Alex said. "Please, you have to go. I couldn't live with myself if anything happened to you. Promise me that you'll get out of here." All right, I promise. I'll get my dad and we'll leave." Alex sighed and looked to the ground. "Good," she said. "I have to get back to the palace now. There's so many things I still need to plan." Rook looked at her with the saddest eyes that Alex had ever seen. "Okay, but when will I see you again?" "I don't know. I'll find you once this is all over and done with. Now, please, I don't want to worry about you on top of all of this." I know, it is sad, right? Yeah, so sad. Rook nodded and he kissed her on the cheek and then he headed home. "I know, it's very sad. I know, honey, it's very sad. It's very sad." "Do you want to stand up?" Sitting behind the tulips, it was the first time that Alex had been out of sight all day. She kneeled on the ground, closed her eyes, and just breathed. She had put on a good show for the fairies and the royals and her brother, but after seeing Rook, all the emotion just built up inside her young body and suddenly surged through her. "Just breathe, Alex, just breathe," she said to herself. "You can handle this. I promise you can handle this." And she stayed behind the tulips until the fear faded from her eyes and her brave face returned. Oh no. Here, you want this Milkies? You want this Milkies? Here, look. Oh, yay, Milkies! Nom, 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 nom. You don't want it? It's so good though. Hey, why are we sad? Milky, 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 milky. Na, 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 na. Milk. You really don't want it? How are you not hungry? How? I don't understand. Yeah, we were wrong about Bob. That's true. Bob is great. He's very good to them all. So that's where we're at. For those of you who are keeping track for your Goodreads, we are on page 312. Chapter 19, which we'll read tomorrow, is called An Icy Trade. An Icy Trade, which leads me to believe we are headed back to the Snow Queen. I don't know for sure, but that is what I believe based on the title. Oh, come on, honey. You're okay. You can sit up. So we're going to go make breakfast, right? You want to make breakfast? And I do too, Mary. I do too. Yeah, anything could happen. Anything can happen. So, yeah, 32 pages today. We did really well today, sweet girl. You did great. You did great. You think that's funny? All right, I will see you all later. We are going to the mall today because we have a wedding to go to, so we need to get a couple of nice things for all of us to wear to this wedding. Yeah. You guys should see the dress we have for her. I'm so sad. Oh, litter boxes. Oh, terrible. I'm so sorry. All right. Well, we will see you all later for baby book club today. We have baby book club today, huh? When we get back from the mall, we'll do baby book club. Or maybe even before we go. Who knows? We don't know what time we're going. Okay. I'll see you all later. Bye, guys.